Well, it started out as a really good morning. And then everything went to heck in a handbasket. I spent all morning making a video. I'm going to go through everything I did, but the camera messed up. And boy, when it messed up bad. I mean, I spent a lot of time showing you things and doing things, but the SD card messed up. This camera, I absolutely love this camera. I can bounce it around and it stays stable. It's a good sportsman camera. They got these buttons everywhere, and if you hit the wrong button at the wrong time, it just messes everything up. It's a really bad design as far as I'm concerned when it comes to the buttons. Considering that a lot of motorcyclists use this camera on their helmet, and so you figure they're going to come up with their hand, they're going to turn it on, turn it off. If they hit the wrong button, well, you know, 20 hours of riding and it's all gone. I don't know. Oh well, it is what it is, and it's just mistakes happen. I wanted to show you something. These tire chains on this lawnmower, I've talked about these tire chains quite a bit, but they just never stop. And so I thought I'd play a little bit yesterday, and I used the mower deck as a snowplow, and it worked pretty good. I mean, it didn't just scrape it clean to the ground, but it did a really good job. And lots of traction. I got my little water bucket holder. I put, of course it's all ice. I put that on there and put a little weight on the back end. I could have done more, but I just wanted to see if it would work, and it did. So keep that in mind. As long as the snow's not too deep. I think if it got too much deeper, it would have been tough. The drifts, it was really having a hard time with the drifts, but I didn't put much weight on the back. That's 40 pounds of water. So this morning, I worked on the chicken run. As you know, the chickens have been having a real bad time of it last couple days. It snowed and they wouldn't come out of their coop. Well, on top of that, the chicken run tops had busted. And I showed you that. There's holes in them. I decided what I was going to do was come down here and we were going to put a tarp on it, which I did. I put this tarp on, and it wasn't as big as I thought it was. I thought it was 20 by 20, but it's 20 by 12. So I'm going to have to get another tarp to tarp that. The coverings for these tarps are really wimpy, and they don't work at all. I mean, one summer and they're all bad. So we got this tarp, and I had planned on putting it on before, but I thought I'd do it in the spring. That way I was going to paint it. Well, I think what I'll do now is I'll just go ahead and get another tarp, and this spring we'll paint it and just lay it on top of this one. That way I don't have to take this off and do it all over again. I can just leave this on. And after I got the tarp on, I went ahead and laid some straw down, and no sooner did I lay the straw down and they instantly all came out just happy and content. Well, they're walking on the snow now, so I don't understand that unless it's a warmer day today. It's going to get up into the 40s. This morning I woke up, it was 10 degrees. Then Carolyn got up a little bit after I did, and it was 9 degrees. And then when I came outside to start working on this, so it was 12 degrees. But it's warm enough now, I don't even have to have my hoodie on my coat. Maybe that's warm enough for them. They don't stay in the snow very long, but they are getting in the snow a lot longer than they were. As soon as I put the straw out, man, they all came out, digging around in it. Of course, there's lots of seeds in there for them to eat. That's Two-Face. Such a sweetheart. Now, she's wanting to come out, I can tell. She's been on both sides of the gate wanting to come out, but I can't imagine that they're going to come out in the snow. So I shoveled the snow. You can see I piled it up over here, right there. I shoveled it out. It's supposed to get up to 40 degrees today, so this should melt pretty good. And they're much happier today. So, I mean, as soon as Frenchie came out, he spread his wings and flapped around. So now we got everything back to operating conditions, and that was the only problem we've had with this big snow, was the canopy, and I knew that was going to fail at some point anyways. And it didn't fail from the weight of the snow. It failed because when I was knocking the snow off of it, I poked a hole in. You poke a hole in with your finger. I showed you that in yesterday's video. I'm going to check to see if there's any eggs in here. Oh, nope, just hens. Got 2 of them in there laying. So right now I'm filling the water. this morning I came out and got the hose that I transferred the water from the well into the tank with, and I warmed it up for a couple hours while I was doing that. I checked the water to see if it was dirty, and I did this all on video. So there's lots of video for you to watch and lots of activity, and it just didn't work. So I got the hose out and I put it in the house for a couple hours. It was completely thawed out by the time I mean, I don't know if it was frozen. I really don't. I just didn't want to risk it. And we used probably 100 and, I don't know, 50 gallons, 25 gallons. It's just about full now. Tank didn't freeze after all this cold temperature and the snow and the wind. I mean, it was pretty rough. Last night, I threw logs in. This is the first time this ever happened. I threw logs in at 9 o'clock. Well, actually, I threw logs in at 4 o'clock, lit it up. Well, at 9 o'clock, it was still pretty hot in there, so I opened all the windows and put more logs in there. When I opened the windows, it was probably 86 degrees in the house. Well, I dropped the temperature in the house to 68 degrees before I shut the windows. That way I can load logs in there and I can sleep through the night without having to get up and put more logs in. Got through the night. Well, I woke up this morning and the little heat operated fan was still running. There were still coals in it. That's the first time it's lasted all night long. I don't know how I did it. Usually it's about 6 hours and then the flame dies out and the fan stops, but I don't know, what is that? That's 8 hours, 9 hours, something like that it ran last night. And but the thing is, I mean, all the coals were gone by the time I was able to actually get to it, because I started the generator for a few minutes to make sure. The batteries were depleted pretty bad this morning because it was so cold last night that the cold temperatures took it down to about 12.1 volts. They shouldn't get below 12.3, so I wanted to make sure the batteries were okay. They are. But the premise of today's video was, when I was making it, one of the things I felt like was going to happen in that video was somebody was going to criticize that we're using a tarp and cheap materials and that we should go build a building and we never have this problem anymore. You're just wasting money buying a tarp, because I'm sure that's what somebody's going to say. They may not now because the video didn't pan out. But the thing is okay, so I spent $30 on a tarp. Even if I got to spend $30 a year on a tarp, which I don't think I will, and I'll explain that, then in 10 years, that's $300. Or I can build a building and spend $1,000 and have to redo it and maintain it. And well, the thing is the way I've got my property set up now is if I don't want to do chickens, I can take it all down and I can put a garden where the chickens are. Everything's flexible. Now, the other day I got a comment that said, I like your videos, my videos. It said that, you know, you watch these other homesteaders and they got all the equipment. They got the tractors and the backhoes and the skid steers, and they got all the fancy equipment, and I'll never be able to achieve that. But what we're doing is something that I can achieve. I might be able to do that one day. And the reason that they think that it has to be is because I'm not trying to spend a lot of money. Instead of spending $1,000 on a building for the chickens will never pay for themselves if I spend that kind of money on a chicken run. But they will pay for themselves if I only have to spend $30 a year on tarps. You know, that's 10 cartons of eggs that I got to sell a year. That's easy to pay myself back with, or the chickens pay themselves back with, however you want to look at it. So this is an achievable dream for somebody. Well, then I got to talking about procrastination, I guess is the best word to use. I see now that folks are procrastinating. They'll say, this is something I want to do, but I got to find a piece of property. Well, the reason they're procrastinating is because I think they get confused on what the dream is. They see that what Carolyn and I have done, bought an acre and a half, we've built a little tiny house, and all in total we've spent maybe $10,000 with the house and the property. 42 for the property, 5 for the house. They say, okay, well, I got to get 20 acres. Well, you get 20 acres and the price goes up significantly. Now you're going to have to wait longer, save more money, run into an emergency here or there. You got to replace the water heater. Or I remember one time I was saving money to buy a rifle. and I'm saving and I'm saving, and I had a small fire in the closet. All the electric, the mouse got a hold of the electric, and I had to replace all the electric wiring. Well, there went my savings. Well, if I'm saving for this piece of property and something happens, you may never get it. But if you minimize or simplify, is what I said in the last video, simplify your dream. The dream is to come out here and live simplistically. But the first thing somebody does is all of a sudden they want a 400 square foot house or 800 square foot house instead of a 200 square foot house. Or they want to be able to hook up their well where they don't have to fill an IBC tank like this. Well, then you're up, you know, you got more solar panels, more investment, more cost. And instead of just saying, okay, how do I live simplistically, you're all of a sudden not living simplistically. And then pretty soon you're having to buy more equipment to take care of the things you got. You know, a little garden. Well, no, I need a big garden. Well, why? And then so now you need a bigger tractor. You know, I showed you how I hooked my tiller up to the back of my lawnmower, and I pulled the tiller around to make my cornfield. Well, if you got anything bigger, no, you're gonna have to get a tractor. Otherwise, you'd be at it for months. The point of it is and Chicken Run doesn't look very nice, but it serves its purpose, and we're living our lifestyle. We're living the dream that we've wanted to live. So if you will you please click on this up next box to take you to my other channel. Hopefully you'll find it humorous and you'll subscribe and watch all the videos. So I hope I can inspire you to minimize your life so you can live your dream. Thanks for watching.